co-created the hit show The Office, and he's the writer and director of a new wrestling comedy featuring Vince Vaughn and The Rock. Here's a clip from Fighting with My Family.
What advice would you give us if we want to...
Win over the crowd.
Win over the crowd.
What are your names again?
My name.
It doesn't matter what your names are. You walk around here interrupting The Rock, you like you haven't seen the sun in 20 years, you like you just stepped out of Oliver Twist. Please, sir, may I have some more advice, sir? You want some advice? Here's The Rock's advice. Shut your mouth. What you want, what you want. How about what The Rock wants? The Rock wants you to go out there, take no prisoners, have no regrets, have no fear. Lay it all out on the line. Because if you don't do that, The Rock is gonna find your friend Mary Poppins. He's gonna take her umbrella. Yeah, he's gonna shine it up real nice. He's gonna turn that sideways and stick it straight up your candy. There's your advice. Straight out of the jabroni beating, pie eating, trail blazing, eyebrow raising, entertaining the globe, never hotter, talking to two rejects from Harry Potter. So that's how you win over the crowd.
Yeah.
Please welcome Stephen Merchant. Stephen, how are you, sir?
Pleasure. Nice to meet you.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
welcome.
Thank you.
All right, first off, I got to ask you about that clip with The
Yes.
Rock. Now, was that scripted? Was that ad-lib? How did that go down?
Well, you're probably wondering why I'm friends with The Rock. And it's not because we're gym buddies.
Right,
Although
right,
you're
right.
probably thinking we are.
But you are rather tall.
I'm a very tall man. I'm actually I'm 2 inches taller than The Rock,
Yeah.
which I like to remind him of constantly.
Yes.
But yes, I wrote a kind of rough version of that based on old things that he'd done in the past that I'd just seen on YouTube. Then he saw it, he was like, no. Went to a corner, 2 minutes, came back, just did that.
That was it.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's
He's
insane.
so good off the top of his head.
Unbelievable.
Set up this movie up for us, because this is actually based on a true story.
This is based on a true story. It's about this family, like any other family. They laugh, they cry, they fight, except when they fight in a wrestling ring.
Okay.
Because they're a family of professional wrestlers. Mum, dad, all the kids, they all wrestle. And the two teenage children got the chance to... Teenage children, they were 18. They got the chance to audition for WWE, which obviously, if you're a wrestler, is the big leagues. It's as big as it gets. And so they went to audition. Only the daughter, Paige, got signed, and the brother got left behind. And so what you have is this kind of really emotional, funny, sort of underdog, Rocky-style story of this girl who has to go off, leave her family behind, go to America and train at the WWE to try and make it to the very top. And in real life, she met The Rock, and The Rock was a real kind of guru for her and a kind of advisor. And so in the movie, you see him and he plays himself as he was in their real life.
Right. Now, how did you learn about this story? Did you know this family?
It began as a documentary on British TV, and again, although I'm British, I never saw it. The Rock saw it. He was in England, he was shooting Fast and Furious 6, he was in a hotel room, he couldn't sleep, and he saw this documentary about this family, and he's from a wrestling family himself, so he just immediately related to them, and even though they're British, he just completely related to their story and their struggles. He sent me the documentary, and I'm like, I wasn't interested in wrestling, I didn't know anything about wrestling.
I was going to say, yeah, you didn't come up watching that
never
stuff.
watched it, but I sat down thinking, I'm not sure I'm going to be into this. And I was just so blown away by the story, by the fact that this family, they love this thing so much. They're so passionate about it, and they have such big dreams for their kids, and they want them to go on and succeed and have all the things, the parents at least, that they never had. And so it's a really emotional story, and Paige has to go off, and you know, she feels very alone, and she has to sort of deal with all the kind of the difficulties of being 4,000 miles from home. But and it's a real sort of underdog, fish out of water story. But she sort of, you know, I don't want to give away the ending.
I know. I was going to say, I'm dying to know if she's still wrestling. Is that giving anything away if you answer that question?
Well, we could just ask people to mute the TV while I give you the answer.
Well, it's okay. We'll wait. We'll wait till it comes out. You make a cameo in the movie. Are you a wrestler in the movie?
Well, I appreciate that thing. I take that as a great compliment. But no, I play one. So in real life, Zach, the brother, had a new girlfriend, and you've got to remember his family are this real rough and tumble, working class wrestling family. His mum has this shock of red hair. His dad's full of tattoos with a mohawk. They're quite an intimidating family, and his girlfriend brought her parents to meet them, and her father looks kind of like me, like a really English nerdy guy, and as you can imagine, meeting this huge barrel of a guy who's a wrestler, there was like a real clash of meetings, and so we dramatized that in the movie, and I play the dad.
Yeah, you have a lot of self-deprecating humor about you.
Thank you, yes.
But you co-created one of the most successful shows of all time,
yes.
The Office.
Yes.
When people find out about that, what's their reaction? Because I was like, wow.
They don't believe me.
Because most people think it's Ricky Gervais.
They think it's Ricky Gervais.
Yeah,
sure.
but you did it together.
We did it together. We started off in England. We created a British version of the show, and then they said, "Do you want to do an American version?" And of course, we just thought, well, that's never going to succeed. It was this tiny little British show, and we met with the guys that adapted it for America. And once you get someone like Steve Carell on board, the magic's going to happen, because I mean, that guy, you don't even need to write scripts for him. He would improvise that show. He's so, and all that cast, they're just so magnificent. And so now we did what, 8, 9 seasons. It's so popular, still so popular, and particularly among kind of younger, like teenagers are watching it on Netflix and love it. And I think, well, they never even worked in an office, right. But for some reason they really love the show. So. And
it's launched so many careers. So many big actors and actresses have come out of that show.
I mean, in that we had Martin Freeman, who he was in The Hobbit. Was in Black Panther, and in the American version, not only Steve Carell but John Krasinski and Rainn Wilson and
Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling, even Amy Adams was in an early episode. And I kind of feel like I wish. Why don't I get a cut of their future earnings? Do you know what I mean? Like, I found them.
Yeah.
Shouldn't I still be getting something from this?
I think you're doing okay, because I read that you bought Ellen's old house.
Listen, I appreciate that. I did not buy Ellen's old house. Ellen had the house. She sold it to someone. I bought it from them.
Okay.
I did not. Yes. I did not buy it from Ellen. And do you know what's weird, though, is Ellen then bought the house above. She then moved back to the neighbourhood, to the house above, and she sent me an email. I've never really met her, but she sent me an email. She's like, "Hi, it's Ellen. I'm your next door neighbour. We should get together." I'm like, "Great." We never successfully ever saw each other.
Never
and
seen
she
her.
was there for 2 years, and then she moved. I still haven't met her.
That's it.
It's so bizarre. And I keep trying to get invited on her show because I bought her a housewarming gift. I still haven't given it to her. It's 2 or 3 years later.
Can you tell us what it is?
Well, I'll tell you what it was, but don't tell her. It was some tins of very English breakfast tea with pictures of the royal family on there. Isn't that nice?
That's very
Lovely
nice.
gift, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess I'll just have to mail it to her at some point.
Last question for you. Ever a reboot maybe for The Office? I know Steve Carell's fielded that question a bunch.
He's very busy. Do you know what I was thinking the other day is, what about an animated version? Like The Simpsons, they all look like the actors, right? And maybe the actors come in and voice it, but we don't have to get them all back in the same room. We couldn't afford them anyway, right? Or did you remember there was a TV cartoon years ago called Muppet Babies?
Sure.
Remember Muppet Babies? We could do it like The Office Babies, and it's all those characters, but they're like 4 years old running around in a playpen or something.
You're always thinking.
I'm always thinking.
By the way, Ricky Gervais calls you the upright lizard being given electroshock treatment.
All right, give me that.
Stephen, thank you for being here. We gotta go. Make sure you check out Fighting with My Family. It's in theaters now. Definitely check it out. We'll be right back. Stephen Merchant. So funny.